All right, so I'm going to demonstrate for you some calling your shot with the 4 different types of call and response. I will say before I dive into these that there's a lot of decisions to make when teaching virtually around using the mute and unmute. That's an important thing to keep in mind and to get into. I'm not going to get into that a ton here. I'm just going to model what these moves look like, but I think that's important to work on, talk to teachers about. And then the second thing here is I think it's always important to remember that there is that little delay on Zoom. So even if I've got really great, crisp, clear cues, there is going to be that little brief delay that happens on Zoom, and that's okay. So my pacing on this might feel a little different if I'm doing a bunch of call and response in a row than it does in the in-person classroom. Not a problem, just something that teachers kind of have to get used to. So there's 4 different types of call and response. Take a second to look through what's on our screen here. These are our 4 types: question, think, respond, phrase, repeat, fill in, and I say, you say, and then some nuanced notes about them. Take a look at those for a second. Great. And I'm actually going to keep the notes up so you can see them clearly as I go through and model these. Great. So jumping into calling my shot. So we're going to work on call and response today. There's 4 different types. Today we're going to work on question, think, respond. So 3 steps of a question, think, respond. The first one is I'm going to pose my question with curiosity. What do I call 2 lines that meet at a 90-degree angle? Second step, I'm going to narrate think time. Oh, everyone's thinking. 2 lines that meet at a 90-degree angle are think. Really brief narrative think time. And then the third thing, I'm going to give a short verbal and physical cue. This might look different in a virtual space than it does in a classroom. I just want to make sure my cue is contained to the space where students can see me and that my cue is really clear in this environment. I'm going to have a verbal part too, just so I don't surprise students and take them off guard that it's their turn to answer. So back from the beginning of this, what do I call 2 lines that meet at a 90-degree angle? Everyone's thinking, and class. So my cue is right in this space. I can see it really clearly. It might be a hand, it might be a point, it might be a snap. As long as it stays right in my Zoom screen, then I'm in good shape with it. So the whole thing together one more time. What do I call 2 lines that meet at a 90-degree angle? Wait, stop. Everybody think, thinking, and class. Right. Today we're going to work on a type of call and response called repeat or phrase repeat. Phrase repeat is not a checking for understanding strategy. This is really an engagement strategy. So I'm just going to have students repeat specifically a word or phrase that I've said to make sure that they're staying engaged and they're staying with me, probably a key word or phrase. Really just 2 pieces to this. The first one, on my initial delivery, I'm going to emphasize the repeatable word or phrase. 2 lines that meet at a 90-degree angle are perpendicular. So a little pause and emphasis on that word or phrase that they're going to repeat. My second step here is I'm going to have a short verbal and physical cue, just making it clear to students that it's their turn to come in. I can use just the preceding word, or as it says here, I can use something like what, who, when. That works as well. So doing that same one, I'll do both steps together. 2 lines that meet at a 90-degree angle are perpendicular. Right? So I'm keeping my cue right there. That was actually a little low, making sure that they can see my clue, that it's really clear. I can do it by the trail off of the word or the what, who, etc. One more time all together. 2 lines that meet at a 90-degree angle are perpendicular. Are what? Great. Or are. Either one of those works great. So that's my repeat. Going to number 3. Today we're going to work on a type of call and response called fill-in. So when I'm doing a fill-in, I'm kind of leaving a blank in a sentence that I want students to complete. So now we're getting into the territory of things that can serve as a good check for understanding. Students are doing a little bit more thinking than they are when we're just doing a repeat. So I can do this, couple of nuances to remember with this. Number 1 is I can either paraphrase or change the sentence order of what I said before in order to have something that really is a check on what students are thinking. So I'm not just repeating my same sentence. So for example, 2 lines that meet at a 90-degree angle are perpendicular. I can tell 2 lines are perpendicular because they meet at a Okay, so I used my trail off there. And then the last piece of this, the second piece here, just continuing to use that same verbal and physical cue that I used in my other versions of this. So putting it together, it looks like this, my content and then my fill-in. Two lines that meet at a 90-degree angle are perpendicular. I know two lines are perpendicular if they meet at a 90-degree angle is what my students would ideally say. So anytime I change the order around, leave that blank there. That's what I want to do with my fill-in. Our last type of call and response, I say, you say. So I say, you say, I'm going to use a longer sentence or phrase. I'm going to give a really exaggerated cue. So my turn and then your turn, really clearly. Me and then you. So my cue might look a little bit different for this one to make it really clear. The third element that makes this really effective is if I use either rhythmic or sing-song tone. Doing that at kind of a grade level appropriate level, but either being rhythmic or sing-songy makes it a little catchier and a little easier for students to latch on to. So it might be something as simple as using those definitions and doing them in this kind of sing-songy my turn, your turn way. So that would look like this. Two lines that meet, your turn, at a 90-degree angle, your turn, okay, are perpendicular, your turn. Okay. And in that case, I mouthed along a little bit to kind of help students with the my turn, your turn aspect of it. As they got used to it, I probably wouldn't need to do that as much over time. So that's the I say, you say. So we've got 4 different types of call and response. Question, think, respond, and fill in really can serve as checks for understanding, where we're kind of seeing if students are with me and paying attention to their response. The repeat and the I say, you say are really more giving kids at bat with keywords or vocabulary, or kind of confirming engagement and making sure that students are still with me. When you're working with a teacher, definitely don't need to introduce all 4 at once, skills that you can build up over time, but it's a nice kind of combination to have. Once teachers get good at all of them, these are great to put into a sequence. So if there's just some quick context I need students to know, I can start to build sequences with these. So for example, I might have a sequence where I start with an I say, you say. Maybe that's more about like the content of today and what we're learning. And then I sequence that to some repeat where I just get some practice with those terms. And then I might do some question, think, respond, give them a little chance to think, but really answer some questions, followed by some fill in where I want those responses to start to become automatic. So with my same perpendicular and parallel lines example, that sequence would look something like this, starting with the I say, you say. My turn, then your turn. Today we will learn, your turn. Good. My turn. About parallel, your turn. Good. And perpendicular lines, your turn. Great. 2 lines that meet at a 90-degree angle are perpendicular. Are great. And 2 lines that never intersect are parallel. Are good. So again, if I've got 2 lines that are perpendicular, that means they meet at a 90-degree angle. Good. And 2 lines that are parallel never meet. They perfect. So now it's my repeat. Now I'm going to do some question, think, respond. So what would I call 2 lines that meet at a 90-degree angle? Wait, think, everybody. And class? Perfect. And what would I call 2 lines that never intersect? What? Think. And class? Good. So if I have 2 parallel lines, I know that they never class. Great. In that moment, I may have seen some meet, intersect, touch, all fine. And if I have 2 lines that are perpendicular, I know they're going to meet at a class. Great. So in the end, I transitioned really smoothly there from my question, think, respond to my fill in. Those both serve a similar purpose. I'm kind of picking up the pace a little bit when I get to the fill in, but I can go through a nice sequence where I'm more supported to less supported, can see if students are with me and they're starting to grasp what these concepts mean.